So, okay, one thing that I wanted to ask you, Rhea, is about men and like,
Oh,
oh my
shit.
oh my God, this guy from when I was 17 just said he misses me.
Yeah, those people are thirsty as hell on New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve,
Holy
2019.
shit.
People are desperate. They're
The
depressed.
countdown is on. It's 8:30. It's like, you better say it now.
Oh my
Well,
God.
thank God he said that to me because I literally was like, maybe I should text Maya and tell him I miss him.
Don't text your ex
Never gonna
on
do
New
that now
Year's.
that I know what it feels like to be on the recipient
It's really
end of
terrible.
things. Ooh. Anyways, okay, so I want to know about men. Like, I want to know. You sit down in these bean bags. You have these conversations, and like, what is something that you've taken away? Like, what's something that you really learned about men, as far as communication, relationships, love, sex, desire, all those like things that we really talk about a lot. What's something that you've learned?
Well, a lot of things. I mean, I'm a pretty curious person, so I like to ask a lot of
So, what
questions.
is one of the main things that you
Like, I
ask?
like to know where people get their intimacy because sometimes these guys that I'm talking to are married, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're still seeking intimacy, or maybe they're not, right? So I like to
I talk to married
know.
guys.
I like to know where they get their intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're in a relationship, I like to ask them what kind of intimacy they have with their partner and why, if it's lacking, why they think it's lacking.
And do you feel like they know what you mean by intimacy?
No, and I think that they.
Because like I feel like that is such an easy question for so many people, but then looking at it, like what is intimacy? Intimacy to some guys means sex, whereas you can get sex from yourself, but you can't get intimacy from yourself.
Yeah, so for me, it means like a deep connection between two people. And I'm really curious, like when I even ask people in relationships, because you can have a relationship and not have that deep connection. You could be living in the same house, you could be sleeping in the same bed, and still not have that connection with that person. So when people are in a relationship and they don't have any intimacy, it makes me very curious. And so the other thing, yeah, they might not know what
You
intimacy
lose the
is.
connect. It's because sometimes it is connected when it comes to sex. Like you lose the connection, you lose sex, you lose everything in your relationship. You lose the intimacy. So you're two people living in the same house like roommates. You don't have intimacy. You don't have a connection. It's super easy to do. Like resentment builds up. There's kids involved. Whatever it is, even if there's no kids involved, like mother-in-laws, outside factors, whatever it
Yeah,
may be.
yeah. There's
And
a
what do you guys say?
well, I think they don't know what it is, and also they say, "Oh, I don't have any intimacy," or they try and get it in other places. That's not their relationship if they are in a relationship. And then I also like to ask, "What about your partner? Like, if you're in a relationship, where does your if you're not having any intimacy, where are they getting their
Right.
intimacy?"
Yeah, because that's actually a really good way to like right away like inspire empathy and compassion and thoughtfulness
Yeah.
because they're like, wait, I've never thought of that before.
And it doesn't, and that can be a problem right there,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't even know, if you haven't even had these conversations with your partner, or even had these conversations with yourself, and you don't know what it is, I don't know. Like maybe some men go for long periods without intimacy, but I think it's very important
Mm-hmm.
to be healthy as a balanced, healthy lifestyle.
Really?
Yeah.
And you don't think it's a privilege?
Um,
Like it's necessary in order to have a balanced, healthy lifestyle.
well, I think it's not, it's almost like human touch is almost like food and water. So I don't
Mm.
even know if it is a privilege. Like you do need it. Like people who are, I was just watching a show about people in solitary confinement
Mm. And who are
who have
deprived.
they don't have no contact. They don't even have physical touch. They have no contact, and it has a really bad effect on their mental health.
Oh my God. I feel like you're describing me. I'm scared for my health right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's actually, so this is a revolution. We're just having a big epiphany right now.
But there is something that another thing we've been talking about is the quality of your relationships affects the quality of your life. So this goes directly to that. And if I look back at my 2019, I would say that in a lot of ways, as far as self-development goes, it was extremely strong.
Yeah.
But I had no intimacy.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
And so that could be affecting the quality of my life. Because there are other quality of relationships that you can have, like with your family. Oh, excuse me. With your family and with your friends. But if you don't have that intimacy and that connection and that kind of quality of relationship,
yeah,
then you're saying that that could affect your mental health.
Yeah, and also, to be clear, I'm not saying that you have to be in a relationship to have intimacy. Right? You can have intimacy in other ways with people. And you said it, intimacy is two people. So that's part of the definition. You need two people. You can't give yourself intimacy, but you don't need to be in a relationship. You could get it from a friend, that you have a different kind of more casual relationship where you hire a provider or you go get a massage or you whatever. So
physical touch. Like I could go to an RMT. Like I've talked a lot about like touch deprivation in the past, and I've heard about it. It's very real. Like something inside of us, as far as like our serotonin, and I think that's what speaks to like the mental health aspect of it. I think that is super scientific and real. And there's something about it that really does take away from your quality of life and can affect your mental health. Because if you're not getting touched, even in a non-sexual way, but it still like requires connection. Even just physical connection that's non-sexual, I think can be intimate.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, as children, you're probably used to being touched by your parents, right? That felt really great. That was very healthy.
And that's non-sexual intimate connection. For sure. That's such a beautiful way to connect, actually, physically.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I think it's good to have these kinds of conversations, especially if you are in a relationship. Or if you're not, you're having it with yourself. You're saying, oh man, I have a real lack of intimacy. Right? This is something that you're saying to yourself, what am I going to do about it? Or you're in a relationship, you're like, I've been married for 20 years and I don't even know if I've had intimacy. I don't know how my partner is getting their intimacy. So you need to sit down and have these conversations.
And you can also say, like, how do you like to get your intimacy? Like, how do you like to connect?
Yeah.
Once you understand what it is and that you need it, you could figure out how you want it.
Yeah.
And that might help as well. But it could be that you need 4 hugs a day. It could be that you need intimate conversation with no distraction and that kind of deep connection. And it could show up in different ways for different people. Because when we read the definition, it's not just about sex and it's not just about romantic intimacy.
Yeah.
It's about two people having a deep connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I would encourage people to go back and listen to our episode all about love languages because I think it ties into it. I think it gets the ball rolling, and that's like an easier like way to get it going. Like, this is what I like to feel loved. That's part of intimacy. And then you have those conversations with the people in your life, right? The people that you're romantic with.
Honestly, it's so interesting to say, like, everyone go find out what your love language is and share it. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't even know for sure.
Yeah.
And like sometimes
it could change too.
Yeah, it could change, or you could try something out for a little while and then decide, actually, no, I really feel way more loved when you tell me that I'm beautiful than when you do the dishes for me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that could change over time, and you have to try it.
Yeah.
And that could also lead to a deeper connection and more intimacy for you in the future. And when you feel a deeper connection, you want to have sex with people.
Yeah.
With yourself, with other people. Like that part of your body, like when you have like a good mental balance and you're feeling healthy, you will feel horny.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. And if you feel deprived, go see a professional intimacy provider,
Hmm.
and there's lots of
Do you
people.
have a phone number for me?
And that's, that's the interesting thing too. And that's why I love to ask men about the women, is
Hmm.
because women actually have fewer places to go
To get
to get
intimacy.
intimacy.
Yes. Like,
Um,
what am I gonna? What guy is
yeah,
gonna?
exactly.
There's nothing.
It's not available to women. So,
I mean, sure, it could
it
be,
could
but
be.
it's way less available
Yeah, and I
for
mean,
sure.
there's all sorts of safety concerns for women, as we know. So
Hmm.
it's a little bit more different. But I like having these conversations with guys. I think it shows me that they don't spend a lot of time thinking about this kind of thing, and it's really important
Hmm.
because, like we're saying, it's an integral part of your life balance, your health. So you need to be able to ask for this kind of thing from people and be able to have these conversations because it's part of staying healthy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so when we talk about like on the last episode about love languages, when we say like one of your next talking points should be about where do you get your intimacy, this is what we mean. Go up to the people in your life who you feel that you want intimacy from or who you have an intimate connection with and say, where are you getting your intimacy? Are you getting enough? Like, how connected do you feel with me? How do you like to feel intimate? How's that going for you? And start the connection and the conversation there.
yeah, absolutely.
This has been a hard to swallow conversation with Rosa and Rhea. Thanks for listening.
Head to rosaandrea.com for more.